Hey there, it's David H. Lawrence the 17th, and the other day I put out a video talking about um, how big groups often increase the possibility that somebody is going to criticize your idea, sort of, give you a devil's advocate view. Smaller groups are better, by yourself is better, dreaming on your own is better. And I got some great questions, and I'm going to talk about those questions in just a moment, but I wonder how it feels to have that criticism made vocal, made public, given to you. Even if you say, I invite your comments, I invite your criticism, give me your ideas. When somebody does criticize you, how does that feel? It can sting a little bit, even if you've asked for it, even if you've said, I welcome your comments and criticism. It still hurts sometimes when people give you even constructive criticism. And the other day, I heard a speaker address this, and he attributed it to the philosopher Aristotle. So I went looking for it just to make sure I was going to get, because that's what I do. I want to make sure I get it right. So I went looking for it, and I kept using Aristotle in the search, and it turns out Aristotle didn't say this at all. But what was said was, if you don't want to be criticized, then do nothing, say nothing, and be nothing. Pretty good advice. We'll talk about it in just a second. But it turns out it wasn't Aristotle that said it. There was a man by the name of Elbert Hubbard that was a writer in the late 1800s. And in this, I found this, by the way, on a great little site called quoteinvestigator.com. It's my new favorite site. And basically, it's kind of like the Snopes of attribution. Like when you hear a great saying and it says, William Henry Hudson or whatever it says. If you go to Quote Investigator, they'll actually tell you whether or not that attribution is true. And they do the research. There's some guy who's got an even bigger job than I do. And he and his staff does the research and figures it out. Anyway, this guy named Elbert Hubbard wrote a series of short essays titled Little Journeys to the Homes of American Statesmen, where he interviewed people that were popular as elected officials, as politicians, as statesmen, etc. And he wrote a piece about an abolitionist politician, William H. Seward, who you might remember from Seward's Folly. That was the purchase of Alaska. He noted that he was the target of an assassination attempt. And Hubbard suggested in that writing that one must be able to brave censure and threats and criticism and danger to live a full and meaningful life. And that's really what that phrase is all about. If you don't take any risks, if you don't do anything, say anything, or be anything, then you don't have to worry about being criticized. And that's kind of the message for today. But what he really said was something much more poetic. What he said was, if you would escape moral and physical assassination, do nothing, say nothing, be nothing. Court obscurity, for only in oblivion does safety lie. Kind of like that. It's kind of hard to roll off the tongue in the middle of a sort of a casual speech, but it's really interesting. And then that was in 1898. And then in 1909, he came to my hometown of Cleveland, Ohio. And he delivered a lecture that was covered by the Plain Dealer, my beloved newspaper, the Plain Dealer, which I delivered for, 6 years as a paper boy in Cleveland. And journalists said, this is what he said directly. If a man is alive, if he's tapping the reservoirs, he is sure to meet defeat. He'll be knocked, he'll be misunderstood, laughed at, and perhaps called a foe to society. For the man who doesn't want to be knocked and laughed at, I give this recipe. Do nothing, say nothing, be nothing. Go in your hole and pull your hole after you. And put up a sign, not at home. If any man follows this recipe, I assure you, he will never get turned down. So now that we know who said this, and now that we know that it wasn't Aristotle, thank you, Albert Hubbard, you gotta wonder if it's even possible for the kinds of jobs that you and I, have selected to do. Because in today's society, even if you're not an actor or a voice talent or a marketer or somebody who's teaching or any of the things that I've chosen to do, no matter what you do, you are open to criticism. You're open to comments on social media. You're open to pushback. You're open to somebody saying, well, that was a whole bunch of nothing. You know, I actually was glad that that was a comment that was made because it illustrated a couple of things. It illustrated that for him, my stuff wasn't right. It illustrated that to him. And it also illustrated, once again, the sort of dismissive, anonymous, hey, I can post on the internet, so I will post on the internet. What do you think of that? Huh? What are you going to do about that, pal? We have this attitude today that we never had before, right? I was talking about it the other day with the video that I talked about with Kevin O'Leary, that social media has changed everything about how we communicate in a business setting, in a support versus not support setting. So I'm hoping that you have the strength to risk negative comments. If you do, great. I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. And if you don't, I'd love to hear about that in the comments below. If you really hate when people give you criticism, even if it's constructive, I'd love to know that. So wherever you're watching this video, let me know in the comments below. And know that to celebrate 100 episodes, coming up here soon, I'm going to be holding a virtual AMA. What's an AMA, David? An AMA is an Ask Me Anything session, but I'm going to hold it virtually. All you need to do is know that if you've asked a question in any of the first 99 videos that's really good, really juicy, I'm going to answer it, hopefully, in the 100th video. I'm going to try to answer as many as I can. I don't want it to spill over into a second video unless it's really well received, and then I want to do 90 of them. And then you can also email me your questions at davidlawrence@gmail.com, and just put in the subject line AMA question so I know that it's for the Ask Me Anything session. And it can be about anything you want. It can be about voiceover. It can be about acting. It can be about on-camera presence, marketing, productivity, radio, TV, film, even how I make these videos, the process and the products that I use to do that, if that's what you'd like to ask. So that's coming up in the 100th episode. And I really look forward to that because I've gotten some really good questions and I'm looking forward to doing that. Listen, if you would like to join my YouTube channel, please click on my head there. If there's no head, look for a subscribe button. If you want to see the latest video I've done, go ahead and click on that frame. YouTube will play it for you. I'm David H. Lawrence, 17. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.